Massive explosions were just heard by the Strait of Hormuz, the United States military confirming that it has targeted missile launch sites and Iranian boats, which it says were placing mines in the Strait of Hormuz. How will this impact the negotiations that have been taking place between Iran, the United States, with Pakistan as the mediator? Here's what we learned just went down. So multiple massive explosions were heard across the Strait of Hormuz, coastal cities of Bandar Abbas, Sarik, Jask, and a military base with reported hits around these areas. At first, the cause was unknown. This was reported by Fars and Tasnim. Tasnim, which is Iran's local media, talked about how sources are hearing 3 massive explosions around Bandar Abbas. Ali Hashem from Al Jazeera reporting, an Iranian source tells me that heavy gunfire can now be heard near Bandar Abbas, which erupted after the IRGC targeted a vessel at sea, followed by U.S. fighter jets striking IRGC naval boats in the Gulf. According to the source, several IRGC Navy personnel were killed in the attack. The situation is still unfolding, the sources told Ali Hashem of Al Jazeera. A source that's close to MB Ghalibaf, Iran's parliament leader, noted the following. Tonight, strikes were on Bandar Abbas Airport, Shahid Bahanar Port, and likely Mount Mubarak in Jask. A decisive response from Iran is currently underway. And folks, we're hearing from CENTCOM spokesperson Captain Tim Hawkins just told state regime media, which calls itself Fox, the following. U.S. forces conducted, quote, self-defense strikes in southern Iran earlier to protect our troops from threats posed by Iranian forces. Targets included missile launch sites and Iranian boats attempting to place mines. U.S. Central Command continues to defend our forces while using restraint during the ongoing ceasefire. And you're talking about strikes targeting launch sites and Iranian boats and potentially killing people there. Doesn't really sound like a ceasefire to me. More details surfacing on U.S. strikes versus Iranian targets today being reported by Jennifer Griffin of State Regime Media. 2 Iranian boats were caught laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz, senior U.S. officials are telling Fox. Their regime media. The U.S. military eliminated both IRGC vessels and also struck at a surface-to-air missile site in Bandar Abbas that was targeting U.S. warplanes. These were defensive strikes, CENTCOM noticed again or mentioned again. Defensive strikes while you seem to be offensively striking. Okay. They do not indicate ceasefire is over, according to 2 well-placed sources. Also, Jennifer Griffin writes, I am told the U.S. strikes are over for now. Again, these were defensive in nature, not offensive, they keep on saying, and not an effort to break the ceasefire. The U.S. military says it reacted when they saw 2 IRGC boats laying mines, and then also saw a surface-to-air missile site targeting its warplanes. Let's talk about what else we're seeing as well. This is how Clash Report says. U.S. or joint U.S.-Israeli jets struck 2 IRGC Navy speedboats off Larak Island in the Strait of Hormuz, killing at least 4 Iranian personnel. The strike occurred roughly 48 hours before the report surfaced. This is a new report that we're seeing right now. Iranian media were under pressure not to establish the story to avoid disrupting ongoing negotiations. That's what's being reported there. Then Donald Trump reported this. The enriched uranium nuclear dust will either be immediately turned over to the United States to be brought home and destroyed, or preferably in conjunction and in coordination with the Islamic Republic of Iran, destroyed in place or at another acceptable location with the Atomic Energy Commission or its equivalent being witness to this process and event. Thank you for your attention to this matter, DJT. Barak Ravid over at another state regime media propaganda outlet, Axios, which just is basically Trump's stenographer. Here's how Axios is saying it. This is important. This post by Donald Trump, they claim, it appears there is some flexibility here in the American position regarding the ways to eliminate the stockpile of enriched uranium and a certain rapprochement with the Iranian position. And there was also a rumor that Qatar was going to be giving a $12 billion loan to Iran instead of the United States giving Iran $12 billion in terms of sanction relief immediately before Iran agrees to open the Strait of Hormuz. Well, the advisor to the Prime Minister of Qatar, Dr. Mahid al-Ansari, the spokesperson for Qatar, says the following. The reports suggesting Qatar offered $12 billion to Iran to secure a deal are simply not true and are being circulated by parties attempting to sabotage the deal and undermine ongoing diplomatic efforts towards regional de-escalation and stability. Qatar's diplomatic role in coordination with regional partners is well established and publicly documented, and such narratives are nothing more than desperate attempts to tarnish Qatar's reputation as a trusted international peace facilitator. Reading between the lines there, it seems that Qatar is suggesting that Israel is spreading these rumors, or it's coming from people within the Trump regime who want to try to undermine the ongoing framework of the deal that was reached 48 hours ago between Donald Trump, a Pakistani mediator, and Iran, which Donald Trump seemed to go back on when Donald Trump said he will only enter into a deal with Iran if Arab nations agree to join the Abraham Accords and open up a peace treaty with Israel, which Arab nations like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Pakistan say under no circumstance will they do that until Israel permanently recognizes Palestine and a two-state solution. But Donald Trump seemed to suggest that it would be a mandatory requirement that Arab nations agree to the Abraham Accords with Israel and form alliances with Israel if the United States was to enter into a peace agreement with Iran. We also heard from Ali Hashem, again from Al Jazeera, who says, an Iranian official source tells me Tehran has warned Washington that any Israel attacks on Beirut or the southern suburbs would seriously jeopardize ongoing efforts to end the war and could derail the diplomatic track altogether, because that followed Netanyahu, Israel's prime minister, and defense minister Katz holding talks earlier today where they say they will be expanding military operations in southern Lebanon. Israel's Channel 14 is reporting that. Drop site with a good summary here. Netanyahu did a video message about this, saying the IDF has prepared broad strike plans targeting buildings and infrastructure that it claims is being used by Hezbollah. And this news comes amid what the Israeli outlet describes as a particularly difficult month in the northern sector, with 11 Israeli soldiers killed, mostly by explosive FPV drones. And then the Trump regime leaked to Barack Ravid through, quote, senior U.S. officials that the Trump regime would support an escalation of Israeli military involvement in Lebanon when Iran had said that any ceasefire or permanent security guarantee must cover Lebanon as well and must cover Iranian proxy groups like Hezbollah. And so, in other words, you have a lot going on here, and you have the United States military strikes near the Strait of Hormuz, as 48 hours ago, it seemed we were moving closer to a potential peace agreement, although whenever they come very close to reaching peace agreements, the same way we saw when Oman's foreign minister negotiated a peace agreement, we saw Pakistan do the same. That's often when Trump and Netanyahu do their invasions at that point in time. Now let me show you what Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson said when asked, why are you not responding to these U.S. media? With all of these media reports, why aren't you responding to everything Trump says? Play this clip.
Why you are not responding to the U.S. media reports? I believe we have more important works to do than responding to the U.S. president's posts or the other malicious media campaigns, including caricatures posted on the social platforms. We have works that are more important than responding to these trivial issues. We are working in order to arrive at the best solutions to maintain and safeguard the interest of our countries. At the same time, we are responding We are not responding to each and every comment. We are a cultured, educated, and developed people. At the same time, we respond to the enemy's aggression accordingly, as was the habit in the past.
And here's what Donald Trump's former national security advisor said moments ago. This is John Bolton, Trump's former national security advisor. Let's play it.
He thinks everybody wants to make a deal on just about anything. That's not what these people are into. And they can see that Trump is so palpably desperate to have a deal that he can declare to be a victory and that lowers prices of gasoline. And they're playing him on that. They're stretching him out. They're buying time. All of that works in their advantage.
Now, with all of this taking place, Trump focused on building a UFC stadium in front of the White House. You can see construction crews busy setting up the new UFC stage on the White House South Lawn, as Andrew Leiden reports. And then here's a video. I'll show you the B-roll right here. Libby Dean reports about the structure for UFC fight being pieced together on the White House South Lawn, just making an utter mockery of our country while this purported peace agreement is blowing up quite literally and figuratively. That's the update for now. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks everybody for watching. Hit subscribe. Double check that you're subscribed.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.